Welcome back. Well, our DC overlords, the politicians and the experts that they worship, have been dismissing the power of natural immunity against COVID-19 for more than a year. Longer than that. As they pushed a one-vax-fits-all approach to ending COVID-19, crushing the virus. So you may be surprised to hear about this new admission published not by a journal, but by the CDC itself. According to a new study, natural immunity provided better protection against the Delta variant than vaccines. It's actually really big news, should be splashed across the headlines in newspapers across America. In theory, it should convince politicians pushing universal vaccine mandates, even on those who have had natural immunity, to change course in the name of common sense and following the science. Joe Biden has said, how many times has he said, he's only going to do one thing. He's going to follow the science. The question is, will he now? Here now, Texas Congressman Chip Roy. Congressman, thanks for being here. You've been fighting these mandates in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere, loud about it, talking about natural immunity. Now the CDC admits it's even more effective than vaccines. Yet in that same report, they said, we still recommend people who have had a natural infection to get the vaccine. Is this about science at all?
Yeah, Pete, good to be on as always. It's not about science, right? This is all about power. I'm sitting here in the nation's capital, just a few hundred yards away from the Capitol building, and if I want to go get a bite to eat tonight, go get a burger, I'm going to have to go show a vax card. Now, I'm not going to do that. I refuse to do that. But that's what they're doing. They're putting pressure on businesses. They're sending out all the bureaucrats to go try to shut these places down, like the Big Board over on 8th Street, about 10 blocks from here. They're making it harder to get a burger in Washington, D.C., harder to get a burger in your nation's capital than it is to get carjacked. All while we see the science, right? We see what's exactly happening. The CDC is coming out now admitting what we've all known. The natural immunity is at least as effective or more effective than the vaccine. I think it's more effective, and this report seems to indicate that. The Wall Street Journal reported on this today. Marty McCary has been talking about this on Fox and otherwise. He's a good friend and a constituent. Look, this is the actual truth. And but they don't want to admit it because they're having to cover their own tracks for their foolish decisions that have shut down an economy, harmed children, shut down schools, harmed businesses, caused people to have mental health issues, not get the health care they need, and do absolutely nothing to help the American people. The truth is going to keep coming out that, and all roads are going to lead to big health care. Follow the money, and you're going to see what's driving all of this.
Congressman, everything you said is right. But if I'm Joe Biden right now and I'm staring at my poll numbers, or Kamala Harris staring at my even lower poll numbers, and I realize the American people aren't buying what I'm selling, and I'm a politician, which means actually I am beholden at some point to the ballot box in 22 and 24. Why wouldn't, maybe the experts won't admit it, maybe the scientists won't, but why wouldn't a politician ever step back and say, okay, I've said I'll follow the science, now I've got some science that maybe just gives me an out to say we can loosen some of these things to get, I don't know, not just people's lives back, but get people back to work, get the economy back, get schools back open. Why not seize on this as opposed to just pretend like it's not an important thing?
Well, because you're thinking about it like a veteran and a rational human being who wants what's best for his country, not a politician who is beholden to a radical left run by the squad and radical leftists and school boards and all of these, community organizing groups all across the country. That's who is guiding this country. That's who's leading the president to follow this leftist agenda. And we see it bearing out across all of the issues. Crime waves spiking, massive open borders, cartels, opioids flooding into our communities. We're seeing what's happening with Ukraine, with Nord Stream 2 and failure to actually hold Russia accountable. We're in danger. Our country's getting worse, and Biden's not doing anything about it. He's doubling down on it, right? You saw in his speech last night, doubling down on all of these issues, and now actually saying that we can't trust the election before we even had the election because he's trying to set the stage for it. He'll refuse to acknowledge the science now on these vaccine mandates because they're so far invested in it, they can't back away from it.
It's true. It's sad, but I fear that you are correct. Congressman, keep up the fight, and I hope you're finding some really good microwave meals at this point that you're enjoying.
I'm going to head over to the
Washington.
I'm going to head over to the Commonwealth of Virginia and Governor Youngkin, where we can go get some food.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Hope you do that. All right, Congressman, thank you very much. Appreciate it.